Tonight, the province releases its plan to ease the pressure on our strained healthcare system.
We can no longer accept the status quo.
The plan includes funding more private clinic surgeries and sending patients waiting for a long-term care bed to homes that are not of their choosing. We'll have the details and the concerns. Plus,
I'm here basically because when you love someone, you do anything to help them.
Finding a kidney for Lucy, a Stouffville man's mission to find a donor for his beloved wife. And we hop on a special bus in Brampton that's giving newcomers a chance to take in the sights and sounds of the city they now call home. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. With Ontario hospitals understaffed and overflowing, the Ford government released its plan today to help ease some of the pressure. Now, the plan aims to free up beds, add healthcare workers, and reduce surgery wait times. Lorena Redekop has those details.
With healthcare workers in the background, the government released what it calls a plan to stay open. The province will increase surgeries at private clinics, though they'll still be covered if you have a health card. Critics have accused the government of looking to privatize more of the health system. The health minister seemed to be speaking directly to them.
There are some who will fight for the status quo no matter what. They're ideologically opposed to change or improvements. We won't accept that. We can't accept that. People want better health care.
The ministry says cataract surgeries are one example that will be included, aimed at clearing a backlog. Simple procedures already done at private clinics.
Every single one of them charge fees for things that are not covered by OHIP.
For years, hospitals have dealt with patients who need long-term care but are waiting for a spot. The government is looking to free up those hospital beds, sending people to a home that's not their first choice.
We are not going to be forcing anybody out of a home, but the changes do or out of a hospital, but the changes do allow us to continue that conversation.
The government introduced the legislation this afternoon. Another part of the plan, waiving the fees for foreign-trained medical professionals to be able to work here. But there are no extra incentives to keep staff already here.
I'm just on the edge, waiting to do my next step. To leave. I did drop to part-time.
This Toronto nurse is frustrated, often working in a short-staffed ICU.
I used to wake up happy to go to work. Now I wake up stressed, anxious to go to work. Just looking for better work conditions with a better pay. I mean, agency nurses who work beside me make twice or three times as much money as I do.
This plan mentions the high cost of those agencies that provide temporary staff, but offers no recommendation, saying the government will engage with its frontline partners. Nurse Hala Ayub is looking at her options and is considering joining an agency or working in the U.S. Despite this plan, another healthcare worker who would be lost. Lorena Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
As Lorenda mentioned, the province's plan includes sending patients waiting for a long-term care bed to a home that isn't their preferred choice. Now, it's a move that is drawing some sharp criticism and concerns. Natalie Collada has reaction.
After a scathing report into Ontario's long-term care system during the height of the pandemic, today the provincial government is billing the sector as a solution.
There is a challenge in acute care, and long-term care is in a position to make a difference for the first time in generations.
We are in a very good place today to be able to say, you are most appropriately going to be looked after in your community long-term care facility and bed. That is a home for you to go to.
The provincial government has introduced new legislation that will allow patients in hospital waiting for a bed in long-term care to be transferred to a temporary home while they await space in their preferred facility. It also would take 300 beds previously used for COVID-19 isolation and make them available for people on wait lists.
It's horrifying.
Some long-term care advocates are worried.
Effectively, what you're saying is, sorry, Grandma, you're going to be forced into a military-occupied home that you're horrified about and your family doesn't want you to go to. And this is why people aren't putting those homes on their list
The government says the legislation would not force anyone to leave the hospital nor affect the priority waiting list. Still, some worry about the pressure seniors may face.
Many people that I see already have dementia, where they may be confused.
Dr. Amit Arya is the palliative care physician lead at Kingston Gardens long-term care home, often counseling people and their families on the transition to make the choice to move into long-term care.
I'm very worried that this is a policy which furthers the ageism and ableism that is already existing in the system. And the reason for that is simply because, people are very frail, often very scared, and it's often a very traumatic event when they're first admitted into long-term care.
The Ministry of Long-Term Care confirmed to CBC 200 people who have been in hospital for the last 6 months waiting for a long-term care bed will be moved within the next 3 months, with a total of 1,300 moved by March next year. Natalie Collada, CBC News, Toronto.
Tragedy in Etobicoke tonight. That's where a 2-year-old boy was killed after being struck by a vehicle in a parking lot.
That child was transported by emergency run to the hospital. The child has since been pronounced and has succumbed to his injuries. Traffic Services is currently on site with their reconstruction team and are investigating. At this time, there have been no charges laid, as that is an ongoing investigation.
It happened around 7:30 near Lakeshore and Albert Boulevard. Police say the child was with a parent when it happened. The car remained at the scene. Anyone with information is asked to contact investigators. A fire forced residents of a high-rise near Thorncliffe and Overlea out of their units today, and some will likely be out for some time.
We're still waiting to find out what the extent of the damage is from the electricians who are up there doing the assessment right now. We may have to evacuate some of the tenants, some of the residents that have their apartments affected, and we're still not sure exactly how many units that will be at this point.
Smoke on numerous floors. The fire was traced to a hydro panel on the 42nd floor. The panel supplies power to a number of units on the building's east side. One resident was taken to hospital to be treated for smoke inhalation. The cause is now under investigation. Toronto police are searching for a woman who was reportedly abducted in Scarborough today. Police say she was taken near Guildwood Parkway and Kingston Road around noon when a man blocked her path with his car and forced her inside before speeding off. The man is said to be between 20 and 30 years old with a light complexion and black hair and wearing a light colored shirt and an off-white cap. He was driving a white four-door car with a blue emblem on the rear. Now, the woman is described as being 20 to 30 years old with long dark hair. Anyone with information is asked to call investigators at 416-808-4300. A Stouffville family has been campaigning online for months, trying to find a live kidney donor for their loved one. With little success, they've now moved on to a bolder strategy, hoping a sign will help them find a kidney to save Lucy Latino's life. Dale Manukduk has their story.
It's easy to get lost in the shuffle at Yonge Dundas Square, bombarded with advertisements on gigantic video screens. But in recent weeks, one campaign is sticking out.
I've actually had people come up to me and say, I don't know how you do it. They commend me for it. And I tell them, you do whatever you can do for someone you love.
That someone is Lucy Latino, Charlie's wife of 44 years. He still remembers the day he knew she was the one.
Oh, back in 1975, actually. She cut my hair. And she cut it the way she wanted to.
In 2007, Lucy was diagnosed with a rare kidney disease, and her kidney function has been in decline ever since.
Very heartbreaking. That's why I'm here. I'm looking for a kidney for my wife.
Charlie will go wherever there is a lot of people, handing out cards, getting the word out.
Kidney down, going down the number for Lucy.
Here he is outside the CN Tower with local buskers who did a freestyle rap in support of his mission. The search began months ago with Charlie and Lucy's daughter Danielle campaigning online. Even the grandkids have been pitching in, writing heartfelt notes and posting them around Stouffville.
We genuinely believe collectively that we're helping more than just my mom potentially. There's such a need for organ donors.
I need a kidney too. Oh, do you? Yeah, I'm on dialysis.
The latest data show over 1,400 Ontarians are in need of an organ transplant. Noelle LeBlanc donated her kidney in 2017 to her boyfriend's best friend, Randy.
I'm completely perfectly healthy. I only need one to function. So I said, why not? So I do everything I did before. My life has not changed. Randy's has changed.
Randy is happy and healthy today. LeBlanc hopes the same for Lucy Latino. Latino has already overcome a lot, including a broken leg and a brain aneurysm.
We're like, Mom, kidney disease isn't going to take you out. Like, you've defied the odds with everything. You're defying them.
And her family is doing everything they can to help her do so again. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Let's go to Dahlia Ashry now with a first look at your forecast. And Dahlia, best to keep our umbrellas handy tomorrow.
Kelda, if you didn't bring your umbrella to work today, you will need it tomorrow because we will see some scattered showers, and especially if you or anyone is planning on hitting up the CNE on its first day. But there is some positive news. There will eventually be some sunshine as we head into the weekend. The daytime highs in Toronto today, 27 degrees, Windsor 28, and Barrie 26. And there was some humidity today, just like we saw yesterday, so it brought up those temperatures a little higher, making it feel more like 28. Earlier today, like I said, it was mostly dry with some scattered showers. Tonight, we will experience some scattered showers as well, but 40% chance, but it will clear up overnight as you head into Friday and kick off the weekend. There will be some cloudiness throughout the day, but then some rain around 2:30, and then again, it will start to clear up towards the evening, and we'll have more on that later. What to expect tonight, temperatures will drop, and it will be 16 degrees, 30% chance of rain. Tomorrow afternoon, 29, and it'll feel more like 35. So like I said, make sure you have your umbrella as we kick off the weekend tomorrow.
All right. Thanks so much, Dahlia. CBC Toronto has learned that a high-ranking Toronto police officer is under investigation for misconduct. Superintendent Scott Baptist has been suspended after a woman complained he made inappropriate comments. Greg Ross has these exclusive details.
Superintendent Scott Baptist has been suspended with pay after he allegedly made inappropriate comments to a woman at an event in Quebec City. Baptist was attending the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police conference, where he was given a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work in road safety.
Traffic is so congested right now. Enforcement needs to happen.
Baptist has been a police officer for 35 years, most recently working as a superintendent with Toronto Police Traffic Operations. Natalie Wright is a communications advisor for the CACP. In a statement, she told CBC the association is aware of the incident and an external investigation is underway. She said the association is fully supportive of and cooperating with the investigation. A lawyer representing Baptist sent a statement to CBC saying Superintendent Baptist respects the investigative process. However, he adamantly denies having committed any misconduct. At this point, Toronto police have not commented on the incident, other than to say that Baptist has not been arrested or charged in any police jurisdiction. A police spokesperson told CBC that they are unable to comment on unresolved internal disciplinary matters under the Police Services Act. Baptist is the third high-ranking officer with Toronto Police to be investigated for misconduct this year. Superintendent Riaz Hussein is facing impaired driving charges after a crash in Pickering back in January. Superintendent Stacey Clark has been accused of interfering with the Toronto Police promotions process for allegedly giving information to applicants before interviews. None of the allegations against the three superintendents have been tested or proven in court. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
An Ontario man says his collection of RCMP memorabilia has turned into a legal nightmare. 2 years ago, police crashed through his door, arresting him for impersonating a peace officer. Today, he's still trying to clear his name. Jonathan Gatehouse has more.
They came through the door with their, I don't know, whatever equipment they had. They smashed this completely.
It was 6:30 a.m. when close to a dozen Kingston police tactical officers stormed Warren Twing's home in a high-risk no-knock raid usually used against suspected drug dealers. But they were acting on a tip about Twing's Mountie memorabilia, including old uniforms.
It would have been a lifetime career.
Twing dreamed of becoming a Mountie, but didn't meet height requirements, so he became a superfan instead. His collection wasn't a problem until the April 2020 massacre in Nova Scotia. In the aftermath, RCMP investigators found Facebook photos of Twing modeling his gear. They told Kingston police who charged Twing with impersonating a peace officer.
I was handcuffed, taken out to a minivan, put in the back. I was put into a cell and left there.
Subjected to COVID quarantine, Twing spent 14 days in custody. A year later, the charge was withdrawn, and his collection, minus the uniforms, was returned.
If the Kingston police detective had called me, there would have been no need to have called in SWAT, in my case, because I would have gone down to the police station, gladly.
Kingston police declined to answer questions about the raid, but search warrant documents confirmed Twing had never before faced arrest. Safety concerns seem limited to his licensed handgun, an antique that hasn't been fired in decades.
It's excessive.
This Toronto defense lawyer says police use of no-knock raids is growing, but she can't understand why Twing was targeted.
Your home is your castle. It needs to be protected. And so there has to be a way for us to strike this, hopefully perfect balance between ensuring the officer's safety and ensuring that we get it right when it comes to people's homes.
Twing is still in court fighting a police effort to take away his handgun, based in part on the dropped impersonation charge. Nova Scotia RCMP tells CBC News there never was any link between Twing and the Portapic killer. He was simply someone they stumbled upon on Facebook, a man whose passion for policing briefly put him on the wrong side of the law. Jonathan Gatehouse, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. It can be tough being new in town. A program by Brampton Transit and the Brampton Library wants to help. The Newcomer Bus welcomes anyone who recently moved to Brampton on a special tour around the city. Our Talia Ricci hopped on this morning.
You're welcome. If you're new to Brampton and need to get your bearings, this is the bus you'll want to be on.
Thank you for joining us for the Newcomer Bus Tour.
This special route highlights places like City Hall, parks, and libraries. For some new residents, it was even worth fighting through jet lag to get the chance to learn more about the city. When did you arrive to Brampton?
Yesterday only.
From where?
From India. Newcomers, we don't know anything about the city, so it is important for us to know about the city.
What were you most excited about today?
Checking out the city and also looking at the police station and also the hospital.
I am in this bus today because I can't wait to travel in a new place.
How many parks do we have in Brampton? Participants also learn more about the transit system and have the chance to ask questions and win prizes.
Bramley City Center.
I know it can be so overwhelming to, come into a new country and just trying to understand everything that's available to you. And this is an opportunity where people that come in for the first time, they learn about the transit systems, they learn about what's offered in Brampton.
And the hope is after today, it feels even more like home. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Brampton.
A live look at the Toronto skyline. A bit of cloud cover earlier this evening, but it's going to be mostly clear overnight. Currently 24 degrees in the city. Let's go back to Dahlia now with a look at your long-range forecast. And Dahlia, kind of a mixed bag today.
Kelda, we saw some rain today, we saw some sunshine, and the honest truth here is we will see some more rain tomorrow, but we will also see some sunshine eventually. It'll come around. The daytime high in Toronto today, 27 degrees, Windsor 28, a little bit on the cooler side in Barrie, 26, same thing in London. There was some storms today and some scattered showers in London. Now, what to expect overnight? It will be mostly clear skies, but earlier this evening we did see some scattered showers and risk of thunderstorms. As we head into tomorrow and you're going to work, it will be mostly cloudy, and then eventually we're going to see that precipitation activity right here, especially heavy activity in London, and that will start to clear up around 6 o'clock, but you might see some scattered showers. Now, as we head into Friday evening, that's when it starts to clear up, and then as we go into Saturday, finally those dry conditions start to kick in, and then eventually we might see some scattered showers Saturday around 3:30, mostly in the northwestern part of the GTA, and then Saturday afternoon it will be mainly cloudy, and then we start to see it clear up again towards the evening. Now, what to expect tonight in Toronto? 16 degrees. And in the Golden Horseshoe in general, the cool spots in the region are Hamilton, Mississauga, and Markham. Now, what to expect tomorrow, we will see that it will be 29 degrees, but with that humidex, it's going to ramp up those conditions and it'll feel more like 35 degrees. So expect tomorrow as we kick off the weekend to be a little bit muggy, but there will also be some sunshine in sight, especially if you're going to the CNE. Make sure you bring an umbrella or a raincoat. And then Saturday, we get a bit of a break. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, again, we see those temperatures crank up because of the humidity, feeling more mid to high 30s. And you will need an umbrella, especially as you head back to work on Monday. Kelda?
Thanks so much, Dahlia. And finally tonight in Whitby, a unique coffee shop called Melly's Market and Cafe has just opened. It's run by a charity that employs and trains people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We visited Melly's to see how this little cafe is celebrating all abilities and inspiring the community around them.
It makes me feel like I'm really helping the community out.
Our philosophy is we're celebrating all abilities. But specifically, we really want to give work opportunities to people with different intellectual and developmental disabilities. So that's what they want, that's what they're asking for. They want to work, and so this cafe is set up to give them the work experience because they're talking to customers, they're stocking inventory, they're selling product, they're making coffees. All of our coffees are handcrafted, so they're learning all of the things that you need to know when you work at an establishment.
People with intellectual disabilities living with autism and Down syndrome, it was hard enough to find a job for me and everyone in particular. Like everyone with intellectual disabilities is still struggling to find something that they want to do and what they love.
The idea came from our daughter, Melanie, who, when she turned 21, graduated from high school, and we discovered that we didn't have anything for her, and we searched for many volunteer opportunities, which she got, but it wasn't what she wanted.
It feels so good, how good you are. Just came into the cafe, just act normal, it's okay, be some personality.
It's just wonderful to see them being part of the community.
And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night, everyone.